Success as a PPE broker is about abundance mindset and uniqueness. So I'm going to talk about this in today's podcast, and this is the PPE that it's been a very hectic past 2 weeks working on a couple of projects, more than a couple of projects as a matter of fact, and it's been basically keeping me from doing what I love to do, which is to make podcasts like this. And I'm sure you also left the recent blog post that I just put up as well about the fake buyers who cannot follow SOP. So I hope you like that. Just check that out on my blog, ppe.wordpress.com. But coming back to today's topic, success as a PPE broker, being that of abundance mindset and uniqueness, I want to take this to a little bit of a experience that I had recently when I went to ring up several of my mates and contacts and fellow brokers that I enjoyed to converse with almost on an almost daily basis that I've accumulated over the past 2+ years. And yeah, actually it's 2.5 years already. And the reason why I hit them up was because lately I had a lot of access to default stock. Default stock basically is that goods that are ready for collection, but the original contract buyer was not contactable for payment, could not be contacted for payment, and therefore due to my vast contacts with manufacturers right now, I have a lot of access to these kind of lots. And basically these are like OTG, inspect and pay. Sometimes it's 5 containers, sometimes it's 3 containers, sometimes it's 8 or 10 or even 15. So I decided that because for the longest time in this PP industry, people have been trying hard to purchase goods, especially in like nitrile gloves or latex gloves, but they have not actually had the real supply source. And because the pricing is good for these default stock, which is typically marked down from the typical retail by about 10-15%, I thought it would be a really excellent opportunity. And the answer that came from many of these contacts was like, sorry, I've been defeated by the business. Sorry, I've out of it. I've moved on to this, and this. And some of them would basically say, there was this other one big deal that I was working on back then and it didn't work out. I put so much time into it, like months into it, and didn't work out the way I wanted, and decided that this whole industry was a sham and didn't move on. So in this post, I if any of those experiences kind of like experiences of other people resonated with you, then you're in the perfect place at this right time as well. And if you're still in this business and you know of someone who has left the business, well, perhaps you could also share this podcast with them, and I'm sure you would love to have someone that like and trust come back and work this business together with you and share the fruits together, right? Because at the end of the day, what I notice a lot, and one of the reasons why I'm getting like a huge influx of inquiries, of high quality inquiries in the recent weeks, is because over the months, the weeks, months, and even like years, okay, I've actually built myself up to someone that in this very hard to navigate industry, as someone that people can know, like, and trust. So therefore that brings us to like the first thing, abundance mindset. Recently I came across a friend of mine. I would say, we've never even met, but I consider him a friend because he's actually inspired several of the podcast topics and even blog topics I've put up in the past. And I feel that right now at this point of time, he is on one of the crossroads of this industry, because there was actually a deal that we worked together on, and the client was one of the fake buyers that I actually shamed on my recent blog post. And he was quite let down by that deal, and basically he's like in a situation where hard pressed for results, and he really wants to be able to show his friends and family success, and at the same time he really needs that success as well to kind of like for how traders would put it, is to break even for all the time and expense, and actually to recover all the lost profit from opportunity costs in this industry. So this podcast is actually really for him as well, and I will be sharing it with him after this podcast. And this message of abundance, right, is like, never stop. never give up. The way to succeed is to keep finding opportunities and keep filling the funnel. One of the good things that this friend of mine has is that he is an extreme hustler. So he works really hard and he brings all kinds of contacts to the table. And this is something that I wish he will continue to do. And for those people out there who are at a crossroads as well, maybe you just decided to give up, throw in the towel like last week or a month ago, or 2 months ago, and I want to bring this message back to you. The way to succeed is to keep on hustling, to keep filling the funnel. The funnel is always big at the top and slender at the waist, and it comes down from the huge surface area of a funnel. You're thinking of a funnel like when we try to fill engine oil into an engine, or it's like a funnel cone shaped thing. So for what you put in the top, only much smaller amount is going to come up from the bottom, and that's in marketing terms they call it the bottom of funnel. So if you don't have a lot of TOF, top of funnel activity, then if you're constantly looking for what's at the bottom of funnel and you find that there's nothing else coming out, naturally it's upsetting. Naturally, you will be very taken aback. This week and last week, I've been so busy and to the point that I was not able to make these podcasts and blog posts because working on so many deals simultaneously. And like last evening, when my wife asked me, what was that going on just now? You were like, making this call, that call, this Zoom, that Zoom, and what's going on? Which deal is that? So I said, well, there's a couple of deals. And I tell you, it's exhilarating to be able to do a couple of deals at the same time. It's because it's such a challenge, to be able to whoa, I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know it was in me to handle so many things at the same time. I didn't know mentally I could fully understand the concerns of this discussion, the technical details as well, and then yet be able to, plan for this other case, and all these are all done back to back. So what happened last evening was I just came back from my evening skateboarding with the kids, and I was sitting on the staircase, and there's for 20 minutes solid, I was doing this call, that call, this Zoom, that Zoom, and 20 minutes solid. Each one was really, really short and to the point shooter, right? So that's one of the that's one of the tips to get a lot of things done. All right, be a point shooter and spend just, as much time as a task needs, not more. And the small talk can wait, but we just get the key details. Okay, done. Next. Key details done. Next. Key details done. Next. And then this way you can get a lot of things done. All right. So a lot of people have this mindset. Okay, one thing one day. This is the main Thai mindset. People in Thailand are very content to do like one single thing a day, because back in the days of the early automotive entry, like when people realized they could buy cars for locally assembled cars for cheap, and then the roads were flooded and there was a massive traffic jam, and then people were just happy to do one meeting a day. And this is in the pre-computer age. But even carry on to now, like people are the generations pass on this mentality. If you get one meeting done or one activity done a day, it's a very well purposeful day. And if you get two things done, you're way above everyone else, which is true. But damn it, in this internet age, we can get like 15, 16 things done a day. But personally, as SOP or a KPI for myself, I aim to get at least 7 things done every single day. At least 7 things done. Okay, whether it's a conference call, whether it's sending of samples, whether it's getting someone an FCO, whether it's getting it's like following up with a certain deal and chasing a delivery track, sorting out logistics or whatever. At least 7 things done. Some days even 10, 11, all right? And emails, blog posts, I put them into my daily task list, okay? So keep a lot of things going on at the same time. Every day, ask yourself, what are we doing, for the funnel process to continue? We need the funnel to constantly be filled. What are we doing for prospecting? Are we, like for those of you who use like things like Evo Trade, Go for Business, or like, Facebook groups or LinkedIn, well, by the way, if you haven't done so, that's something for you to look into. And it's not simply like spamming and expecting something to happen, but it's more like this actually comes into our second topic, all right? So the second topic is like uniqueness. What is that one thing special about you that you know that other people cannot replace you? If you can find out what that is, then you will definitely have your place in this industry. So for me, I think I'm quite self-aware. I'm sure there could be more improvement, but maybe I'll just give you a little bit of example of what I think are my key advantages and my personal uniqueness, and like how I make this into a strength. And I believe that these are the things that are currently getting me this constant flow of high quality inquiries. Inquiries for like PPE products and vaccines. So if you've been looking at my email newsletter, you've probably seen that I've been quite active. I've also actually mentioned that I have access to several kinds of vaccine, very, very direct access. So basically, if anyone has contacts, just write me an email. If anyone has these requests to procure vaccines for a country, write me an email. We'll discuss more about it. It really depends on whether it's something more fast track that you want, or like, are you more price driven, or if it's for a certain country, or if the buyer is a private buyer. There are ways of going about it. So just write me to find out about that. But coming back to this thing about self uniqueness. Okay, so I feel that my unique advantages are the fact that I'm fluent in English, Thai, and Mandarin, and so that enables me to communicate with a few different kinds of customer. And I'm based here in Thailand, which is one of the leading places for glove manufacture, and that is a big help. And I'm foreign educated, so therefore I'm able to communicate with the clients a lot better than the local brokers here who don't know what they're doing. So instantly, I outposition a lot of people in terms of communication, in terms of internationalism, if there was even such a word. And apart from that, I love to write. I love to communicate. I love to teach. For those of you who looked at my history on the ppe.wordpress.com, you might have read that I actually had some experiences, spent years in teaching related stuff, because I enjoy passing on inspiration. I enjoy improving myself and passing on the nuggets of what I learned. And how that's helped me in this PPE business is that there were a lot of people that started out either same time as me or later than me, and they have come back to me over the past couple of months in emails. Either they came back with inspiration or they came back with an opportunity. And because to them, it was like, hey, PPE, that I really appreciate the stuff you've been putting up. You helped me get out of different rough patches in my PPE brokering career, or even my life. There were points where I felt like giving up, but because of you, I came back and I got this opportunity. Or it could be something like, hey, PPE, that I really appreciate the stuff that you've been putting out. The messages were great, and because of what you mentioned, all right, I really, really wanted to commit myself to giving you an opportunity that we can work together. Maybe back then I was just starting out, didn't know what to do, but I've been always constantly finding that I really want to work with this guy because of the content he's been putting out that has been helping me get through and learning so much in this industry and shortcutting the whole climb and learning curve. So these are the kind of responses, I mean, in my own rephrased words, but that's essentially what it is. So I do not have a huge mailing list, but keeping a mailing list is definitely a plus. Of course, over time, there have been people that unsubscribe, and people who didn't see the unsubscribe button also said, like, please unsubscribe me. And I've done that for several people. But the thing is that most of people actually, my newsletter email open rate is very high compared to many different online businesses. I actually tried my hand at internet marketing before in the past, and I had email rates of like 14%, 7 to 14%, and that's considered actually very good. But did you know that in the PPE industry, for all my PPE related emails, my open rates for email are over 30%. And this is even after the Google slap. So these are a couple of things that you can do. Okay, like I said, if you are getting low on your opportunity, it's not, if you're not having too many things going on at the same time, then there's every reason why you should. Because the more things that you have going on, you give less weight to it, and at the same time, you will also give, you will also like have a much better personal posture. It's kind of like the guy asking for a handout versus the guy out there making a living. If the guy asking for handouts knew how easy it is, or knew how, let's say, asking for handouts. Okay, in Thailand at the road crossings, basically because of the traffic lights are like, the traffic light system in Thailand is one of the worst in the world. For example, it could be red for 300 seconds and then green for 30 seconds. And because it is red for 300 seconds, which is like 5 minutes, there are a habit and a culture, I would even say, of homeless people or beggars, or basically people just decided that this is what they want to do as a profession, that they will go around offering to clean window screens and asking for donation, or perhaps they would be selling stuff, typically like a handmade, what do you call it, worship mini refs or something. I don't know what the name for it is. It's like it's made of like flower petals and stuff. So, and then they will go on selling it, and if you ask them how much it is, they will say, oh, any amount you love. And I mean, if you think about it, they are hardworking, but they don't even know it. Maybe they think they're taking an easy way out in life. But if the effort that if they consider how much effort they actually put into doing this, and if they just took that into doing something else, who knows? Bricklaying, maybe the rewards will be greater. You get what I'm saying? So the thing like this is well, in Thailand the wage is not maybe the best, but I mean, if you compare this to a foreign country, like someone like standing on the street with a signboard around the chest, at the street junction looking for a donation, and versus like someone doing like a crane operation or window cleaning, and which actually pays good, okay, then you notice that what I'm saying is true, which is like if you are currently the person looking for a handout versus the one that's going out there making things happen, sometimes the contribution and effort is not actually that different. But the result in income is totally different. Okay, so if you are in a stage that you're like, oh, this deal doesn't work. I need to wait for the client's response. Oh, he said tomorrow? Let's wait until tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do for the rest of today. I guess I'll just have to wait for tomorrow. Oh, it looks like it's a festive period in Egypt, or in Israel, it's like a religious phone off time, and I don't think I can contact. He's not going to be available. Well, it'll just have to be next week. In the meantime, well, I'm just going to bum. You get what I'm saying? This is unfortunately what's happening with a lot of people. Keep making things happen. As with all my podcasts, I have a little bit of an activity for you as well. Okay, like let's think about what you really want it to happen right now. I give you 60 seconds to write down. No, 60 seconds. Make it 3 minutes. Okay, over the top of your head, without like second guessing yourself, without censoring yourself, just anything, absolutely every and anything that you really want. Just think of it, write it down for 3 minutes, go. Pause this video, right? Or pause this audio right now. 3 minutes, go for it. All right, how many things did you manage to come up with? 5, 6, 15, 20? Now, I want to give you another task. Okay, first of all, whatever that is, I hope most of that, is what you truly want. If it's not what you truly want, please change it. It's very important that this has to be what you want. Okay? This is like a super, super compressed activity of what I did previously in my other podcasts where, I walk you through the process of like the 3-month goal setting system and all that. But, now, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, you've already done that of the things that you want, like right now, today, whatever, off the top of your head. And then now, I want you to spend the next 3 minutes, okay? Look at the list that you just came up with and then write down anything and everything. You know the drill. Do not censor yourself. Free associate, go all the way and write anything and everything that you think you can do, or I would say that anything and everything that can make the above happen. Just write them down. All right, 3 minutes, go for it. Not enough time? Well, let's go for another 3 minutes. Okay, so this should not take you more than 6 minutes. Why? Because I want you to be extremely focused and get used to having yourself work at this pace. It's so important to do this at the beginning of a day, for instance. Or let's say if you have a day job and this is evening and this is like your side hustle in PPE, no problem. All right, do this like right now and then have it go from like right now, because when you do this, it helps to put you in a tune of a mental functioning that once you have done and completed this, all right, the next step, okay, now you have your list. You free associate yourself for 3 minutes. You came up with a bunch of things that you want. Now, you already spent another 3 or 6 minutes, okay, to basically come up with all the things that you can do that would help make the above list possible. Now, the next thing is that I want you to take this second list and just review this second list and actually think of how, for every single one, on another column on a sheet of paper, okay, I want you to think for every single idea, okay, you can copy it over or you can do it on a spreadsheet, whatever. I want you to create, two lists. One is impact, okay? Impact means like how much this can change your current circumstances. For example, signing a 1 million box a month deal for gloves. And that could possibly be, X amount of commission per month. Or let's talk about even 100,000 boxes per month. And how much that getting such a deal would change your current circumstances. So for instance, if you're currently, financially just getting by and you're already retrenched, or let's say, you've been having a drought for a couple of months, not getting a deal, this would be extremely high impact. I would give that like a 10 out of 10 for impact. Okay. On the other hand, a guy from next door borrowed like $10 to pay for something. Maybe it was like courier charge or something, and which he did not have and did not return. So this will be relatively low impact in comparison to you getting that deal that I mentioned about. So a low impact could be like maybe a 2 out of 10. All right. And then the other thing would be the ease. How easy is it to get that deal of, let's say, 100,000 boxes per month or 1 million boxes per month? If you think it's easy, rank it 10 out of 10. If you think there's some challenge to it, well, maybe there's a fair amount of challenge, like, 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10. Or let's say, and then on the other hand, there could be a different task. Maybe you thought, okay, you can make a post on LinkedIn. And, what's the impact of that? Well, that could be high impact. Like maybe you give it a 9 out of 10. And then in terms of ease, well, it's just typing a couple of lines, maybe adding a picture, and that could be, a 9 out of 10 as well. So what happened now is that now we take the 9 score times 9 we have an 81 out of 100 versus the other activity, which is like, you'll say, oh, I want to get this deal. But the deal is not there yet, right? Why? Because that deal, let's say if the deal is not already there and you have to find that deal, you have to find the customer, find the seller, you have to, go through the process of due diligence to see if they're worth the time, to try and straighten out the deal between the buyer and the seller, to negotiate, sending samples, etc. And the Zooms maybe have like some visit or something like that. And then all like in comparison, which of that task, like which I gave a 4 out of 10 in terms of ease. Okay, so 4 times 10 for impact, 40 point score versus the 81. Because okay, so now this other thing that the links in post scored a higher score, and basically that is a more effective thing to do, and this would rank above the other task. Not to say the other task is not important, but this is rank higher. So in the time that you have, it helps to find what is most important to do and to do those first. So when you do this way, what you can end up having an effect of maximum you can have maximum effect, minimum effort. Okay, maximum effect, minimum effort. All right, so or maximum impact. Okay, so this is like one exercise that I would love for you to do today, and this would help you to get the abundance going on for you. This would help you work at a much quicker pace. Okay, and once you get into the habit of doing this 3-minute activity of free association, and then we do another activity of how we're going to make that happen. Okay, and can you use the same list for the next day? Yeah, sure. Okay, if you accomplish stuff, you can strike them out. But if you want an easier way of doing this, you can actually use something I've been promoting on my blog on the right panel. It's called Simpleology. Click on that banner. Okay, it's something that I use on a daily basis that does all of this. So I free associate every morning. I sort it out, and I just come up with ways how to get things done. And that way I keep very constant, a very constant grasp of what I have to do. And in fact, after doing it for such a long time, I feel that it's on the top of my head, and this helps me to be very goal-getter, very goal-driven, and I constantly know what's the next thing that I need to next thing I need to do. And I often feel that there's not enough time in the day, but as a matter of fact, if I compare it to my output now versus before I did this, and I would love for you to notice yourself as well, you're gonna find that you're gonna get so much more done in so much less time. I mean, this is just a recommendation, but well, if you try it out, you might like it. Okay, give it a try for a couple of days. Okay, and if you find that well, this is great, but it's just too much paperwork and spreadsheet and yada yada, then just go on my blog, click on the right panel where it says Simpleology. It's a free trial anyway. Just try it out. It makes things so much simpler. Hence the name. Now, finally, coming back to this point of uniqueness. All right, find how you can be unique. Maybe you live in Vietnam. Maybe you speak Vietnam. Vietnam is one of the leading countries for gloves, and at the same time, I understand that now they're also producing a lot of masks in Vietnam as well. And if you have a good command of English, that could be a plus. And if you're in a country, if you're in any country that produces or buys PPE supplies, all right, see how you can get involved into the supply chain and find your position of uniqueness. There's one person that I recently met, and I'm very, very impressed with him. He was a graduate of biomedical science, and he had worked in laboratories for vaccine development and different forms of research, including cancer. And afterward, when he went on to different business appointments, naturally his background helped him a lot. And actually, he's one of my partners now, my trusted supplier, where it comes to the procurement of vaccine. So he like everyone has a different history. What are you today is the accumulation of your past. Have a think, I don't know you, I know myself. Well, I think I know myself well enough. Maybe I don't. But perhaps for you, I would love for you to think about up till today, what experiences have you had? What background, life experiences, education, work experiences, etc. Special knowledge could be, the acquaintances that you have. You know what's interesting? I've seen a lot of high-flying brokers coming out of Malaysia and Thailand, and all of a sudden, they're just, from nowhere, they're making big money in the PPE industry because of the contacts. And these were people who have been going to the flower joints, discos, etc., karaoke's, and all of a sudden, the networks that they've built up have come to good use, because when they had the foreign buyer and they needed that, they had connection to this factory, that factory, blah blah, and instantly they could bring in the deal. Have a think. Give yourself, put on some music, and have a think. How can your past experiences give you advantage? List out, 3 minutes. What are your best assets of right now that can help you in this business? It could be personal qualities. It could be a whole bunch of things. All right, go for it. Okay, how do you like this week's podcast activities? I hope you love the things I've come up and like I said, I love to share inspiration, and this was totally unscripted, just did it off the fly, and even the exercises, yes, it's just totally off the fly. It's something I believe that will help, and leave me some comments if you see a comments box down below if you found this beneficial for you. One of my goals is to one day be able to be a TED Talk speaker. This is one of my lifetime bucket lists. So I'm just saying this in case, who knows, someone out there may have a connection or something and help me make that happen. So that actually brings us to another point as well. Like, never be shy of what you truly desire. It is okay to desire, and be very real with the things that you desire. If you want it, say it. I'll be aware of it. Why did you have those lists? Because you want stuff, So let's make it happen, my friends, or like friends I have not met, And share me some love in the comments below. Share this post if you like it, favorite it, whatever. And I really look forward to be able to work with you in this business, in this industry. And it's interesting, once you learn to be very open with yourself, you'll soon discover how interconnected this industry is. It's interesting because there have also been friends who have made money and then left this industry, and they said, hey, it's probably time that you come out. Don't you think it's time to move on to something else? This is done for. There are no more real buyers left. But on the other hand, what's interesting is that I know for a fact that for all the connections that I made, economists, investors, businessmen, people in the consulate, politically connected people, politicians, governors, ambassadors. So many, I've been open to so many doors. And it's interesting how I even get different requests these days. They're like, hey, I'm not sure if you know anything about scrap metal, but I've got a request. Hey, I'm not sure if you know anything about pork supplies in Thailand, but I've got a request. Hey, I'm not sure if you know anything about helmets, but I've got a request. I think I'll be in this industry of trading for a very long time. It's so fun. All right. So guys, my friends, when you do everything that I said, in this podcast, you're going to start feeling a totally different way about this industry. And I guarantee you that if you were initially thinking or even given up or thinking of giving up, whoa, no, not even close. So much more to it, and it can get so fun. All right. Thanks very much, everyone. Bye for now.